Hello and welcome to, I think this may be the big 3-0, the big episode 30 of Popcorn King, but it might not be that. Who's really keeping count? Me. Then I'm going to be doing a couple of reviews for some super huge, big, giant shows and movies and some smaller ones as well. Ones that maybe in the talks for the awards race. We'll have to wait and see. And the first thing that I'm going to review today is a series that just came out Thursday morning in the UK, 1 a.m. for some reason. And this series is called Stranger Things Season. Is it like 5 volume 1? It's like half of a season, so they released half a season. This is Stranger Things, direct by Matt Duffer, Ross Duffer, a bunch of cool directors, starring Millie Bobby Brown, Finn Wolfhard, Winona Ryder, just the whole gang is back. And what did I think of the first half of this season? I thought it was great. I thought it was exceptional. Like, they were really promoting this as like every episode is going to be a movie. And then when we saw like the run times of the episodes, we were like, it's not quite a movie. It's like an hour and 10 minutes. It's like a long episode or a very, very short movie. But they're not quite movies. But the 4 episodes that you got given do feel very cinematic in some aspects. Some very cinematic, great moments. And one of the things that Stranger Things has been good at since the very beginning is writing child characters and hiring great, amazing child actors. They're so good. There are some really fun, brand new child characters and child actors in this, and they're just played incredibly. There might be a couple of spoilers in this review, just in case you don't want any spoilers. Then definitely don't look. I'm just trying to find, man, IMDb. Okay, there's the episode guide. Yeah, what's the name of this actor in? He's really good. He's good at saying things like suck a fat one or suck my thick one or whatever he says. It's so graphic. But he's this young actor, really young, chubby little, great actor. I cannot find his name for the life of me on IMDb. What's his name? And like he's a top character. Obviously all the normal ones. Oh, I think Jake. It must be Jake Connolly. I have to give him a shout out. Jake Connolly. What a great child actor. And yeah, like I said, like he plays this bully and he's redeemed. Like he is such a horrible bully who's like, suck my fat one. And he's this kid, like he is, I don't even think he's a teenager yet. He's a proper kid. And he's like, suck my fat one. He says it even to like his mum, I think. He's like, tell mum to suck my fat one. It's just like, damn, that's so ridiculous. But he redeems himself, and he's just a great character. I really enjoyed him. And then of course, like basically all the new child actors are wonderful, and they're written so well. I think there's something about writing children for the 80s that just works. It just feels good. Like it feels right. Like that's what children should be. The children of the 80s are what my picture of children should be. Just these young adventurers that are going off on their bikes doing adventures. That's and they're so good at casting for those type of children. Children these days, I have no idea if you could cast a film with children that are from these days, because it's just a different type of child. They're more grown up than those children. I feel like children have less, maybe less imagination. It's probably too dangerous to go out and just go on adventures on your bike as children these days. The world is different. But damn, it's so nostalgic to watch. I was talking about this with my mate that sorry, my phone just vibrated. I was talking about this with my mate that I was born in the 90s, so I'm a 90s kid, right? But I get that nostalgic feeling from watching things that are set in the 80s. And it's weird because I don't remember the 80s because I wasn't born in the 80s. All I know of the 80s is just films I've watched, And and yeah, when I see things like Stranger Things that feels like it's set in the 80s, I get a real sense of nostalgia, way more so than when I see things that are set in the 90s. Like the first Captain Marvel film was kind of set in the 90s and had the 90s soundtrack. And yeah, I remember all that stuff, but I didn't know, like it didn't hit the nail on the head of what the 90s feels like to me or what I remember it. And when they do the 80s, even though I wasn't born in the 80s, I feel like they really do hit the nail on the head. And it brings back nostalgic feelings, which is so weird because I'm like, well, I didn't live that, so it can't really be nostalgic feelings. I guess when I was a kid, a lot of the films I watched, like E.T. and stuff, were from the 80s, potentially. So yeah, maybe as a kid, the type of films I watched were 80s movies, Goonies type of stuff. So maybe that's why. But yeah, like everything that I see that's set in the 90s does not quite hit the nail on the head. And maybe that's another thing, like because I actually lived the 90s and I remember the 90s really well, it's harder for things to really hit the nail on the head. So like maybe if I was born in the 80s and I really remembered the 80s, maybe things like Stranger Things wouldn't hit as truthful. I'd be like, oh, the 80s wasn't really like that. But because I'm not from the 80s, I kind of have that romantic sort of nostalgia from the 80s. And yeah, maybe if I wasn't from the 90s and I saw things like Captain Marvel, I would get the same thing. But I don't know. I just don't feel like I feel like the 90s was a bit too grimy, maybe a little bit too Eminem, a bit too Nirvana, a bit too sticking it to the man. I feel like 80s was a little bit more, everyone was settled, a bit more, it was like peacetime kind of vibes. I feel like 90s things really were a bit more grimy, a bit more like protesty. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about really. Anyway, back to Stranger Things. One of the things I will say is that Eleven, the character 11, and her sort of storyline in this with Hopper and her training, she's training to go and kill the bad guy, whatever his name is. I found that probably to be the least interesting part of it. This angry teenager with sort of dad storyline, I feel like it's been played out a bit too much now, and I guess I just find it the least interesting part of the whole series. Like everything else was more interesting, way more interested in all the other storylines that are going on. I really like this storyline of what's his name? Will. In fact, I would say Will. His story arc in this, played by Noah Schnapp, is incredible. Like he is the MVP of the first half of this series. He's so good. He's a really interesting, thought out character. It's really interesting when Sadie Sink comes back in as Max. When she appears, that's really good. I'm loving watching like Nancy Wheeler and Jonathan Byers. I'm loving watching Steve Harrington, of course. Robin, played by Maya Hawke. Like these are all great characters and great storylines, and I'm invested. The only one I'm not really invested in that much is 11. Unfortunately, I'm just like, can we move past the 11 bit and her just arguing with Hopper, and it's like I'm done with that. I'm a little bit done with that, and I'm more way interested. And maybe the writers kind of know that that's maybe how the audience are going to be feeling, and that's why they're pushing Will to become this new upgraded incredible character who by the end, when he spoiler alert, when he gets all the powers by the end, it's like, damn, it's so thrilling to see him finally come to his own, because he is somebody who has been trying to find a way in which his identity can fit in this world in the 80s. He's obviously is he gay? Is he a gay character, I believe? I don't know if they've completely outwardly said it yet. Maybe they have, but it's just, I don't know, heavily heavily sort of hinted at. And it's really, really interesting. Like, he doesn't know how to fit in this world, even with his absolute closest friends. He can't quite be completely and utterly himself. Even with the people that he loves the most, he just can't. Even with his mum, he can't. Like, she's a bit overprotective now. He's really struggling to find himself. And, it's like a giant metaphor for coming out, I guess, because at the end, he finds himself, he believes in himself, and he is upgraded. His powers are updated and upgraded, and he's just incredible. So what a thrilling end to this 4-episode arc. I'm so excited for the next 4 episodes. The last 4 episodes. Are they 4 again? Hopefully it's 4. It's coming out over Christmas time at some point, but really enjoyed it. Thoroughly recommend it. If you've got Netflix, go and watch it. You'll get that nostalgic feeling, even if you were born yesterday. If you're a baby, like an actual baby, put on Stranger Things and you'll get that real nostalgic feeling of the 80s, because I just feel like the 80s are that. That's just what they are. So let me know what you thought in the comments below. There's a little movie on in the background just over the old shoulder there. So if you can name that movie in the comments below, be the first person to name the movie. Of course, you'll get 10 points. 10 whole points just for you. And imagine all the things you could do with 10 points. You can maybe add them up with points you've previously earned and have like 20 points. Imagine that. So first person to write it in the comments, please let me know. And just let me know what you thought of the series, the first 4 episodes. I'd love to hear your comments. Are you as sort of bored with Elle as I am? I'm more interested in Will. Probably, I would say you probably are, and I feel like the story writers, the writers know this. But let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear it. Now we're going to be doing a review of a movie that I saw at the cinema, and this movie was called, of course, Nuremberg. Nuremberg, starring Michael Shannon, Russell Crowe, Rami Malek, Leo Woodall, Colin Hanks, Richard E. Grant. Wow, a stacked cast, absolutely stacked cast. What is Nuremberg about? I actually didn't know what I've obviously heard of Nuremberg, but I didn't really know the ins and outs of it. So a World War II psychiatrist has to evaluate Nazi leaders before the Nuremberg trials, growing increasingly obsessed with understanding evil as he forms a disturbing bond with Hermann Göring. So it's World War II film, obviously. That was the IMDb synopsis, obviously. And it's just one of those films where I feel like it's a decent film. Decent film. Really highlighting a part of the history that I guess I didn't know too much about, where it's like everyone after World War II were like, okay, when we find the leaders of the Nazi party, we got to execute them. And then some people were like, no, if we do that, we'll make martyrs out of them. We should give them a fair trial. And everyone's like, what? But what if they win? Like, that's a bad idea. And it's like, well, okay, well, we'll get a psychiatrist in to really evaluate them. And hopefully we'll get some information from the psychiatrist just to really make sure they don't win any trials. And that's sort of what this is about. And it's interesting because there's World War II movies a lot, right? Like we had One Life with Anthony Hopkins like 2 years ago. We had the Kate Winslet one a year ago about the photographer who, took a photo in Hitler's bath. And they always feel like kind of Oscar baitery. But I don't know, they always they seem to consistently fall short a bit for me, if I'm honest with you. They never hit the nail on the head for a good World War II movie. And don't get me wrong, we've had incredible World War II movies. I'm talking Saving Private Ryan, I'm talking The Pianist, Schindler's List, just incredible movies. But I feel like over the past couple of years, maybe the past 5 years or so, they roll one out every year, and it's kind of good, but never great. It's like they've gone, hey, we got to check our World War II movie box for the year. So what story hasn't been told? Oh, here's a story about a photographer. Here's a story about a psychiatrist. Here's a story about a visa. Like One Life was about getting visas, basically. And it's like, it's not that they're running out of stories. It's not that. There must be a million stories from World War II to tell. It's that they keep choosing stories that I guess require less visceral action, and it seems to be more people just sort of chatting and talking, and that's absolutely fine. But the issue is it never feels like they're making these films because these conversations are so incredible. It feels like they're making these films because, oh great, we can make a World War II movie for a really, really small budget because there's going to be no visceral action and bombs and explosions and stuff. We're not going to have to do all that stuff. Like, here's a story that just requires some actors in costumes sitting in rooms and talking. And again, it's fine. Like, you can make great World War II movies, I guess, in that vein, but it doesn't feel like you're tackling the horrors of war. It doesn't really feel like you're getting your hands dirty and getting stuck in to this horrific period in our history. It kind of feels like you're trying to stay a bit clean, and these films seem a bit clean. They seem a bit shiny, a little bit, I don't know. And there's always really emotional moments in them. There's all these moments. I remember in the Kate Winslet one when they discover these camps of all the concentration camps. They discover them, and the world didn't really know what was happening in these camps. They didn't realize they were like execution camps. And she goes there, and it's just an incredibly empowering moment. Not empowering, it's the wrong word. It's an incredibly powerful moment. And the same in One Life, when all the kids that he saved stand up and they're there at this talk show, or this talk show. It's an incredibly powerful moment. And in this one, there's a moment in the trial where they show stock footage of all the stuff that happened in the concentration camps, and it's incredibly powerful. But that's it. You've got these fleeting, powerful moments that are surrounded by a movie that is just decent and not exceptional at all. I don't think Rami Malek is a great actor, but I think he does a decent job in this. It's obviously important to tell these stories. It's really important to keep history alive and keep telling the stories. But I do feel like maybe some people are making some production companies are making these for budget reasons, rather than honorable reasons. They're like, look, there's a cheap one week. Here's a cheap World War II movie we can make. It's going to cost nothing. Like, let's have another great World War II movie. That's what I want. An incredible one. Because, like, we've had some really great World War I movies over the past few years. But yeah, we need some, we need something a bit better. In my opinion. That's just my opinion, guys. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Obviously, there's a movie on just over the shoulder there. If you can name the film, you get 10 points. If you're the first person to put the film in the comments below, you get 10 points. 10 points. I don't know if I said 2 points before, but it's 10 points. And you can do anything you want with those 10 points. So let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that hype button, hit that X button at the top of the screen, which closes the window. And then go outside and then get some fresh air. Now I'm going to be doing a review of a TV show that I saw on Netflix called The Diplomat, and I think it was season 3. So The Diplomat is this cool sort of political kind of drama. And if you've seen season 1, season 2, then it was good. It's really good show. And now we're on season 3. So what did I think of this season? I think it's still really top. Great TV. I'm really, really enjoying this. However, it's at the same level as the previous seasons. It's as good, I would say. I'm as enjoying it. However, I want it to get better. Like, I want it to move on a bit. It's still kind of revolving around this submarine issue, which happened in season 1. And I get it, it's a big issue, but these people are like some of the they're playing the top most important people in the world. They're playing presidents and vice presidents. There are other issues, like this must have taken place over the course of a few years now, and it seems like they're just obsessed with this one submarine issue, which is important, yes, but there must be some other issues for them to deal with as well, because it's just endless. This submarine issue, it just never ends. There's always another twist, another turn about this submarine plotline, and that dictates everything. And it's like, can we, like, there must be something else that happens in this world. This is set in the world, right? There must be something else that happens that is important to the President of the United States and Vice President of the United States, which literally the only thing they care about is the submarine. But that being said, I still really like it. It's just, like I said, it's just as good as the previous seasons. It's one of those shows where you're kind of in it for the characters. You're just so interested in these characters. They're really well written, fun, diverse type of characters, and they're cutthroat. They're very cutthroat characters. A little bit confused by the character motivation of our main character, played by, what's her name, Kerry Russell. So Kate Weiler, just throughout the first season and second season, has been kind of semi-breaking up with her husband, right? And now, spoiler alert for the third season, if you're watching the third season, if you haven't seen it yet. But yeah, in this, they do break up, and she carries on living her life. And at the very end, she sort of breaks down crying, saying, like, please forgive me. I want you back. And I was a bit like, why? Like, why did you change your mind? I don't really see the thing that happened there. What was the turning point? I don't. It wasn't believable to me. And the same with Idra, played by Ali Ann. Idra also just forgave someone that she broke up with like seasons ago now. Again, like, I was a bit like, well, I don't really understand the motivation, if I'm honest with you. I mean, it's nice that it's happened. I kind of like the dynamics of these people, but it doesn't ring true to me that this was the direction that character was going in that instance. So yeah, 2 relationships have sort of mended by the end, and I'm like, I did not see any stepping stones to that happening, but it happened, and I'm hopefully they're going to do a season 4, and hopefully it will not be this submarine issue over and over again. But let me know what you thought in the comments below. There is a movie on in the background. If you can name that movie in the comments below, if you're the first person to name it, you get 10 points. That's just what you get. It's just a rule of the universe. So name it quickly if you can. Great film. I've got a moustache, but it's only going to be for a few more days because November will end and I can shave the moustache off. So say goodbye to the moustache, and let me know what you thought of the moustache in the comments below. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to do a review of a little movie that I saw at the cinema, and this movie is of course called Wicked for Good. It came out last week. Saw it, and I went to a double bill, right? So it was the first Wicked movie. Directly after the first one was Wicked for Good. So I kind of got to watch it as one big fat giant movie, just like the musical in the West End and Broadway and around the world. I still loved this film. I loved the first one. I loved the second one. I thought the second one was not as good as the first one. I'm sorry. It wasn't as good as the first one. I'm so sorry to say that for anybody who's listening. Don't hunt me down. Please. It just wasn't as good. Like, the 2 leads in this are just incredible, and their dynamic with each other is irresistible. It's so fun to watch, especially in that first one when they hate each other and the jibing and the jabbing. And then that beautiful scene where they finally become friends and then they love each other. By the end of the first one, they're there. We got this whole arc and they're together a lot in that movie, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. When Elphaba is about to go to the Emerald City and Glinda jumps onto the train with her, it's like the beginning of a great adventure, right? It's like, you know, that feeling I got in Lord of the Rings where the hobbits go off on their adventure. But in the second one, they're not together enough. They're just not on the screen together enough. Their adventures are completely and utterly separate from each other, which is really, really frustrating to watch. It's really annoying when you get a great character arc of two people that hate each other, make up, and then form a bond and they love each other by the end of the first film. It feels contrived to just undo all of that work. And then in the second one, they hate each other again and they're fighting. And then we've got to watch that journey to them back to loving each other again for the song For Good. And it's like, I don't believe that. Like, didn't ring true for me at all. Like, why? It feels like, again, it's like, well, that formula works so well in the first half. Let's just redo the formula and contrive a reason for them to hate each other. I didn't understand the motivations. Like, why? To me, it doesn't really make too much sense why Ariana Grande's character would still be like, just come back and say sorry to the wizard. He's not a wizard. You've seen straight away that he has no powers whatsoever. And this sounds like I'm just hating on the film. I really loved this film. I really enjoyed As Long As You're Mine. I really enjoyed No Good Deed. That was so epic. I loved For Good as well. That moment was just incredible, so epic and beautiful, and like brought tears to my eyes. This love for each other and the change for each other, and how people enter your life and then leave your life, and you just have this effect, this forever effect from really special people. It's just so good. But this is, you know, I'm trying to critique it a bit, I guess. So that's why I'm just saying it's annoying that we just had to go rewind all the work that had been done in the first one of them loving each other back to hating each other and fighting each other, and then they've got to go through the journey again. And it's like, well, that's a bit of a, it's just the same. The other thing, maybe potentially it touches upon one too many issues and therefore doesn't delve too deeply on any. It's like, what's the main issue here? Are we focusing on animal cruelty and putting animals in cages? Or are we talking about propaganda and media lies? Are we talking about race and how people are judged for the color of their skin? Or are we really focusing on feminism and how females have to choose between their professional life and their personal life, and how you just can't seem to have both? Or is it about sort of stripping the voices away from minorities and things like that? And it's just like, wow, you're really touched on all these different subjects, but it's kind of left, it means you've not dived deep into any of them, if I'm honest with you. Which is fine. I know it's more about the relationship between them. But yes, that's just the bad stuff out of the way. The good stuff, the singing is immaculate. Again, I really enjoyed As Long As You're Mine. I thought they were going to start having sex whilst flying. I was like, this will be an interesting sex scene. And Jonathan Bailey is wonderful. I liked the way it connects into The Wizard of Oz, and yet you don't necessarily see that all too much. It's just happening on the outskirts of our main story. But yeah, just really, really, really great time. And when you watch it all as one, it is like, I really love all the the motifs in the music, the callbacks, the reprises. It's just so, so good to watch and listen to, and just to hear such great singing and watch great acting from these two leads. It really just makes this one of my favorite musical movies I think I might have ever seen, like as one. Wicked Part 1 and For Good. If I put them, mash them together as one, it's up there with my favorite musical movies I've ever seen. It's so well realized. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. I'm sure I've said some stuff that you disagree with. Just let me know. Also, there's a movie on in the background, one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. If you can name that movie and be the first one to jot it down in the comments below, you'll obviously get 10 points. And with those 10 points, you can do whatever with them as you please. Just use them to do anything you want. Like this video, smash your keyboard. Just smash it to pieces. And finally, I'm doing a review of a TV series that I saw on Netflix, and this is called Nobody Wants This Part 2. The second season, basically. So, this is a really, really fun show. The first season I really, really loved. It was one of my favorite of the year. So this is about, I'll just give you a little thing. It's just basically about an agnostic podcaster who talks about sex a lot, falls in love with a rabbi, a very, very Jewish rabbi, as rabbis often tend to be. And it's just about their kind of love story and dealing with their differences and making their way through a sitcom. It's really, really fun. Really great. Just a solid sitcom. I really, really love it. Really fun. I obviously love Seth Cohen from from the OC. So it's so cool to watch him be a sexy rabbi. I will say his sexy rabbiness is a little less in this one. He's a lot more kind of geeky, a bit more, I don't want to say Jewishy, because that feels bad. But in the first one, he was take your ice cream from your hand, put it on the floor, and kiss you, with sexy music behind him. And he was Mr. Impulsive, Mr. I'm a cool rabbi. I'm not like other rabbis or I'm not like what you think rabbis are. I'm a cool, sexy rabbi in the modern world. But in this one, he's toned that sort of sexiness down. He's more like, oh, I'm a rabbi. Like, I've got to follow the rabbi rules. Like, he goes to a new, what's it called? Synagogue? He goes to a new place of worship. And it's a bit too liberal for him. You know, it's a bit too liberal for him. He's not cool, forward-thinking rabbi anymore. He's just slightly more on the conservative side, which is fine. But yeah, he's not cool. He's more worried. He's a bit more lame, if I'm honest with you. He's just a little bit more lame, and it's still a charming show. Still completely and utterly irresistible to watch. Like, but yeah, not much progression, if I'm honest with you. Like, it doesn't progress much from the first season. In fact, maybe I'm completely wrong, but in the first season, they kind of break up at the very end, right? Because he's like, I can't do this unless you're going to become Jewish, unless you're going to convert to Judaism. And she's like, well, I'm not there. I'm not at that point. I can't do that. And he's like, well, my job is kind of depending on this. And then she leaves, and then he chases after her, goes all the way back to her house, and he's like, you know what? I choose you and not the job. I choose you over the job. If I lose my job, so be it. I want you. And it's this big romantic gesture, right? That's what happens at the end of season 1. And then in season 2, it's like that never happened. And he's like, when are you gonna convert to Judaism? You need to convert to be a Jewish person so I can do this job. It's like, well, what happened at the end of season 1? That was a weird. You just forget that happened. And again, it's the exact same thing I was saying about Wicked. It's like, well, here's a formula that works so well in the first one. let's just contrive reasons for them to go back to that exact same, I guess, the exact same dilemma. Where it's like, okay, but then all the progress that happened in season one, with him realizing that actually loving the person that you're with is more important than your career sometimes. Like he has that development. I'm not saying that's the correct choice or anything. I'm just saying he has that development, but then it's just done away with by the beginning of the first season. He's still wanting to be a rabbi, and he still needs her to become Jewish. And I'm like, you're just doing that because it worked well in the first one, so you've contrived a reason to go back to that. And then what happens at the end of season 2? They break up, and then he goes back to her and goes, "We can make this work," and they kiss. It's like, am I having deja vu? That's the exact same way that season 1 ended. So yeah, a little bit weird. And I have to say, because of that, it's made me more invested and more interested in the siblings. I'm really loving Sasha and Morgan and Esther. Like, I'm really enjoying watching that storyline way more than watching this sort of less sexy rabbi do the exact same stuff that he did in the first season, but just in a less sexy way and less cool and open and liberal way. And yeah, now I'm more interested in Sasha. What a unique character, and Morgan, both really unique characters, and they're kind of stealing the show. Like, the writers better buck up their ideas for Joanne and Noah, because the siblings are stealing the show, in my opinion. Let me know if you agree. Maybe I'm crazy. Let me know if you agree in the comments below. There is obviously a movie on in the background. There's always a movie on in the background. This is a great movie. If you can name this movie in the comments below, you get 10 points. Just write it in the comments below. Say goodbye to the moustache, because it probably won't be here next time you see me, because November is nearly over and it's almost December, so the moustache has to come off. But thank you so much for being here. I've loved this. What a great 30 episodes we've had. And you've been here the whole time, and I absolutely love that from you guys. I love it. Please comment, subscribe, and just have the time of your lives. Have the absolute time of your lives.